Hi, everybody. It's Kimmie
Hi, everybody.
and Lorina.
It's Lorina.
I was waiting for you to say your name. And Lorina.
Hey, okay. No worries. All right. So we're back again.
To talk about spirit guides and how to work with them, which will be
Yeah.
helpful in so many different areas of your life.
And I got a little bit of collective stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Can talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. Do you want to move into the collective? I did a really short collective reading just to see short term what's going on in the very near future and even right now. And what I saw was an upturn in the collective consciousness, even though there's a lot of chaos, and there is. Just with, if you turn on the news, you know that. But there's also this kind of upturn in consciousness. And even though there is fear, like war, craziness, what I saw was an actual upturn. And I literally heard, and it also felt like with crypto too, coin crypto, the whole thing, I heard there's going to be an upturn in that too. Like, because this was also part of, is not just the collective consciousness, but also that, because I heard crypto is part of this, that there is going to be
Yeah.
an upturn, which is a really good sign. And I literally heard, don't panic, people, don't panic. That's,
Yeah.
we're going to be okay. And we're going to make it, that actually just to hold the vision. Of course, use your logic. Sometimes we do have to use our logic and our physical, very physical tools that we have to live here. But that to not panic, that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And also, and then again, I saw from our last reading, I saw the swords again from the Confederate thing, like the crossing
Yeah.
swords, which was the a symbol that's on the Confederate hat in the South, which comes from the Civil War time. And just to say, so our last collective reading, I did get like this big. The first thing I got was this big what, and Arizona went back to a law around abortion that was enacted during the Civil War, like 1864, I believe, exactly. And then I saw and a little later in that reading, I saw the swords, the Confederate swords, which, so I think that had to do with seeing that symbol had to do with this abortion law in Arizona. I live in Arizona, so I get to hear about it a lot. But
Right.
this issue is going to be a hot button issue that, and it's already, I mean, it's already national news. But this is going to become even bigger. And
Okay.
this whole right and left thing, are you on the left or are you on the right? And you better decide and tell us. Don't fall for that. You don't have to choose a side. I have strong opinions about abortion laws and stuff. And I think women should be able to choose what they do with their bodies. But anyway, I don't want to get political, but this is going to get really big and get even bigger about the division of sides. You know what? Love your neighbor. You might think they believe in really stupid things, and they might, according to you.
Yeah.
But everybody wants the same thing. We want a house. We want a home. We might not want a house. We want a home. We want food. We want to know we're going to be okay. And that we're, to a certain degree, living, as far as living in a society, that we're all going to make it and be okay. We all want the same things.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. Again, because I did see an upping of this level upping of people's consciousness. So don't fall for the rhetoric or the polling of the left or the right or the taking sides. No, we are part of a collective. Don't choose a side. Sides create division. And sometimes you do need to fight for things. I want to say that. But this, I think, is created to create division. Anyway, just want to say that. And I did see explosions, some sort of explosions. And yes, we have been seeing wars going on, or looks could be major war going on. Yeah, that's going to intensify. I saw explosions, but I also saw some volcanoes going off, some big volcanic explosion. it didn't seem like it was here in the US. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, that's it. I wanted to share that.
There's your collective
Yeah.
share.
Yeah. Don't panic. Don't panic. We're going to be okay. We're going to make it through all this. And yeah, there is an actual, even though there's all this chaos, there is an upsurge in our collective consciousness. So just be aware. Don't panic. That really is the message. We're actually moving in direction.
There's been a lot of heaviness since the beginning of April for sure.
Mhm.
And that's natural with clearing. I was on the way to bring my dog to get groomed during the eclipse. And I think I had told
Yeah.
you that I had messaged you and I said, wow, I don't know what I was thinking, but as I was driving there, I kept getting these images of this steam or smoke coming up out of the ground,
Mhm.
like off of the earth. And whenever I see something like that, it makes me think of Watiko, which is
Mhm.
that smog that interferes, they say, with you being able to perceive reality and yourself clearly and who you really are from the divine perspective. And you get confused with illusions and delusions. So there's a lot being emitted and a lot of confusion. And a lot of people were panicking. I was telling Lorena, like, I spend a lot of my time personally talking friends that are into crypto off the ledge because everybody was freaking out and about to sell. And so, congratulations to all of you who are still in the game, according to what Lorena is saying.
Who didn't panic? Don't panic.
Don't
Yeah.
capitulate.
Yeah.
So
All
it's
right.
all going to be okay. So I told her when she shared that with me in our pre-chat, I was like, "Oh, I think everybody's going to like that you have that message
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
everything moving up."
All right.
All right, so we shall move on to the section related more to spiritual topics, and we're going to talk about spirit guides.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about spirit guides and who our spirit guides are and what they can look like because there are many types of spirit guides. And do you want me to start or do you want to go or
I think I'm going to let you lead on this because I think you're more proficient as the intuitive psychic teacher than I am
okay.
with talking about it.
All right. And we went over this in class last night. So I have a lot of notes and it's fresh in my mind. So because we did talk about this and it's a pretty cool subject to talk about. Our spirit guides. Um, and you know what we we all have spirit guides. I'm going to start with that because some people, especially if you're going through a really rough time in life, you may feel like you don't have any or feel very disconnected from them, but they're there. And to start off with, what kind of guides we have? We all have main guides, and these are the ones who are around us for a lifetime, like our whole life. And if you have read the book Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, it's a really great book on this kind of thing and also our soul groups and evolution of the soul. It's really interesting, but it does get into soul, into our guides, and that we have main guides who help us. There's, from what I know, there's one main one, but you could have more than that. Absolutely, like three
Okay.
or so. And these, a lot of people have different opinions about that. Are these beings that have lived on earth before, or are they just they're helping from the other side and they've always been on the other side? To me, these are the beings, they've always been on the other side. If you have other guides, you can have other guides that have, you may have one who specializes in something, like you want to be an opera singer. And that is your destiny to become one. I can't believe I thought of that.
Yeah.
But so you have one of your guides could be opera singer from 200 years ago who assists you through that process of becoming an opera singer. And they might not show up until you're ready to actually start diving into that. So you can, so there are, again, different types of, this is a specialized guide for you. You may have, if you want to be a medium, you have a mediumship guide who's helping you just with your mediumship or your psychic,
Mhm.
who in a past life, again, back to past lives, did this kind of work, so has specialized knowledge about how to be human and do this kind of work, not just a spirit guide who sees it from a different perspective because they have not lived here. Anyway, So there are those kind of guides. Guides can be, they can be angels. They can be archangels. Now, archangels have big jobs. They help many people, but they know how to handle it. I can't tell you how they do it, but yeah. So there's Angel Michael, Raphael for healing, Michael for protection, Gabrielle. Yeah, I feel more connected to Gabrielle. He helps give messages, but also give words to the voice. Yes, so different kind and angels. There are lots of angels running around helping people. Angels have not lived on earth, but
Yeah.
sometimes they just show up when you need them for specific events and things like, oh no, like me, oh no, I'm going off a cliff. And then somebody shows up and helps you not go off the cliff. Yeah, that can happen. It's a guide. Is it an angelic guide? But we have the angels help with that. There are also ascended masters who are our guides too. And so people, the ones that you're attracted to, and of course, ascended masters have lived on earth, like could be Mother Mary, could be Jesus, Kuan Yin, Saint Germain, Yogananda, some of the great saints, like Yogananda. He showed up last night for me. I'm like, hey, all right, I haven't seen him for a while. But these aren't usually there all the time with you, unless, say, you work with Jesus a lot. And so he shows up for when you do perhaps energy healing or give messages that they're more tuned into that type of realm of the kind of work that he did or does. Yeah. And please jump in if you want to. Babaji
No,
is a
just
big,
enjoying hearing your perspective of it. I'll share mine. I mean, I don't have quite the same hierarchy in my experience, but
yeah. And Babaji, I used to have a lot of dreams about Babaji and Yogananda when I was really doing a lot of the lessons around Yogananda's work. I was doing a lot of meditations and stuff that he gave. They show up on occasion, not all the time, but he might be in the background. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. But I have to say, I am not one of those people who gets particularly attached to, oh, this is my guide and it has to look like this and they have to show up like this. Some people are like that. I am not one of those
Yeah.
people because I just trust when I need help, it shows up and it shows up in some form or another that works for whatever I'm doing at that moment. Yeah. But some people are really locked into it looks like this, which is fine because everyone's different. Also, we
Right.
have guides, our guides, and this goes along with the spiritualist tradition, like spirit doctors or spirit chemists. And what those are guides who show up for you to help with healing. Like spirit doctors were doctors, this is talking about very specific purposes, doctors in a past life who come through to help you with energy healing, some sort of, and you actually do a process where you do a meditation or sitting in the power and asking the spirit doctors to show up and assist you. And you imagine their hands are your hands and you start doing the energy healing in that format. And
Yeah.
chemists, also spirit chemists, which is basically the same thing, but they call them spirit chemists because they work with that etheric energy or ectoplasm. Yeah, and that's part of the spiritualist tradition too, which is very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there are your ancestors can be your guides. Your ancestors, or like Native Americans, for instance, there can be, and I used to use this a lot, and I haven't. We brought it up last night in class because because I'm a white girl from Utah, and I haven't connected to my Irish roots because it only mattered if you were Mormon, how I grew up.
Hmm.
So I haven't connected to my Irish roots or the English roots and gone back and tried to connect to that ancestry. But if I tried or if I went there, I'd probably start getting some of that and information or that cellular, perhaps even connection, so that I can bring that kind of energy in. I have not experienced that. But what I have experienced, because, and I think this is part of it, is that I have had my first past life memory, which was when I was about 10, is I started having dreams about being another woman. I was a Native American woman in the US before it was any states there. They were just territories. I was a Native American woman, so I've connected and had many dreams about Native Americans. And so for a while, I was really working with a group of beings who were Native American, and I called them my tribe. And I'd ask them to come in. And this is before I knew anything about doing any of this kind of work. I'm calling my tribe in. I'm asking them to come in and help me with this. And I would meditate. And I didn't even know really how to meditate very well. But I was doing all this work. So they would show up and help me with stuff. And I called them my tribe. And they were these beautiful group of beings that I loved. And just talking about them, I know they're going to start showing up again around me because this is the second time I've started talking about them in 2 days. So they're going to start showing
Calling
up.
him in.
Yeah, exactly. That can be your guides too. So and your team, like when you do healing work or any kind of psychic work, I call in my team, come on in and help me. And that is various guides that assist me with the kind of work that I'm doing, whatever it happens to be. And I'm sure you do the same thing or something similar, should I say. Yeah.
I should say, I know that I have a block in the sense of I've been so singular in how I've been programmed to rely on others because I'm Generation X.
Yeah.
We were the generation that's like the latchkey kids. We were very singular and very self-responsible. So I have often forgotten to do the calling in of assistance because what is that? So it's been a learning curve, like for me to do it. So a lot of what I receive is ancestral. A lot of like my grandfather, my dad's grandfather, and his mother, and those things like that. So I receive a lot of assistance with animals because I trust animals. But like as far as like guides, or I've only experienced this one blonde woman who comes in and out like often. And then one time in the last few years, I went through a huge healing. I had this other woman come to me, and she was from Atlantis. I think I had shared this with you. Yeah, and she was like a guy that I was actually seeing in my mind's eye, and she was smiling, and she was like, "You don't know how long we've been working on this with you." Let go
Wow.
of this like old anger I had at somebody, and I guess I'd been carrying it for a few lifetimes, and they were like celebrating. Yeah, you've been holding on to this for a while with them. But that's pretty much like the most I've ever experienced. And then when my little cat died, I felt this energy of death here before she left. And I asked it, "Who are you?" And I heard Azrael or Azrael. And that's I mean, I'm not really into the archangels and stuff like that, but I looked it up, and apparently that's the angel, like the psychopomp. The psychopomp is the archangel that crosses people to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people might not know what psychopomp is.
I guess, is it androgynous or male, female? I don't know, whatever, but midwife souls to the other side, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are people who do psychopomp work, which is like mediums who actually help people go to the other side. So it's just a strange word.
But speaking of the ancestors, what's interesting is that's been big for me in my work is the very first guide I've ever got was a wolf. And then sometimes the wolf would turn into a male native. And so this native man would play such an important role sometimes in my meditations. And then I would get confused because I would also have a lot of African based guides and like seeing a lot. So I don't know if that's ancestry or if that's past life for me. And so that's a big claim because you don't want to do cultural appropriation, but that's just how it is. And then so it's been that huge African centric guides, the Native American guy, and then the Viking Irish part of me. I get a lot of the psychopomp, which is Freya and Odin, and so it's just a funny little mixed bag of guides. Here's my Vikings and my Native Americans and my Africans.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you do any kind of plant medicine, you may have some of those ancestors show up like in a big way. Just saying, because I've had that happen.
Oh, you had that happen? Like when you
I've seen past lives. Yeah, Norse past lives or Vikings and fighting and doing all that stuff. Yeah, so there's definitely a connection there. And yeah, yeah, definitely. And the most important guys that I forgot to mention is our relatives who are on the other side who come to visit us, or our animals or who come to visit us, spirit animals, or loved spirit animals, the ones that you had who crossed over. And yeah, they can definitely be big guides for us. Usually guides like that are not a full lifetime. First of all, that they pass, so it wouldn't be a full lifetime, but at some point when they do pass, they come and help you. First of all, with your process of grieving,
yeah.
they can be there, not necessarily. They might just take off. Who knows? I mean, because it's such a big variety of things that could happen. But when people pass over, they can show up after they've left us and help us through many things, like big things. And grieving them is one of the things, but they can really be our really quite serious guides who show up to help us, like my sister. She helped me through a lot of things. A lot. I don't even want to talk about them all because some of them you've heard, but not all of it.
Mhm.
But at some point, and I really got used to having her come because she died and she was 18. I was 23. It was incredibly
Yeah.
so I was when she started showing up, which was about 2 months after she died, and really helping me through some things. And I think she was like for about, I don't know, 25 years or something. Might be wrong on that number, but anyway, at some point she did come to me and she says, Lorena, I can't come and help you the way that I have been. I'm literally like in a dream, like full on, like sitting there talking. I can't help you the way that I did in the past because I have other things I have to do. And it made me really sad. Cause I'm like, but because
Yeah.
I really got used to her showing up for me, which I mean, she helped me a lot. And so it did make me sad. You're not going to show up. But
Yeah.
uh, looking back at that, I mean, she does show up on occasion, but it's very different. It's like she's over here. I know she's there, but it's not like this profound, like big messages, like helping you through things. So we can have guides from the other side who have
Right.
our loved ones, and they really can show up in profound ways to help us and be our guides. But it might not be for the rest of your life. That's all. Or it
Yeah.
might be. Who knows? You might have a grandfather who's I don't have anything better to do. No, not really. I don't mean it quite that way. I'm trying to be funny. But yeah. And they're like, yeah, I'm here for you. I'm nudging you in this direction. But our other guys might help us in the same way as far as nudging us or giving us signs that they're there. Yeah. You have anything to say about that? And our animals can come visit us in that way too. You might feel them laying across your chest like they used to, things like that when they're visiting.
It's such a mixed bag, like you said. Like we have a friend that passed a couple years ago, and it was really sudden. I mean, she had some health issues, but she was pretty down here for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, not so much. And she
Mm-hmm.
had given me a really direct message that, like, she hadn't gotten to say goodbye to a lot of people. So her passing was really traumatic for a lot of people. And she had to work through some stuff on her own and then finally realize, like, yeah, it's time for me to go. Like, everybody has, I've helped them grieve. My work is done here. You won't feel me as much, but it's all good up here.
Mm-hmm.
That's been interesting. And then, like, my dad, my paternal grandfather, he was around so much and he's still around so much. We were not close, but he gave me this very specific message that, like, he's like, I'm sorry, my actions, like the actions of his life, left repercussions on his children. He was a hardcore alcoholic. I mean, Irish, like, drinker, disappear for days. And he created this ripple of abandonment. And then it rippled out into the grandchildren. And he's, you are so affected. And I'm not going to give you guys all my personal, but and feel like a victim. But he was like, you are so left alone. And it started with me. So he's, now I'm here watching over you. This is my trying to balance that out. Like, I'll be your guardian. And I'm like, really? Me? I barely knew you. But he shows up a lot, which is pretty interesting. And even in rooms, to think that they're trying to remediate some of the energy they created to balance it out, which is really beautiful. So I'm like, okay, you do you, Grandpa. If you need to watch over me, if it
Yeah.
helps you and helps me, let's do it.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
amazing, actually, and that it was that clear of a message for you. Yeah, like he wants to make up for what he did.
Yeah, and then my dad died almost 2 years ago of some health issues, and I still think he's letting go of. My sister dreams about him too. She's like, he's always like barbecuing or drinking a beer in the neighbor's garage in the dream.
Oh my gosh,
I don't
that's
think
funny.
he's completely let go of his corporeal body. He's still like
Hmm.
waiting around watching over his wife and his
Hmm.
grandchildren and stuff, but
Hmm.
still not like really moving on fully, but doing the best he can. It's just so interesting to tap in when you get these feelings of what transpires when you go on.
Yeah.
So
And so that's, yeah, like my mom, she would come to me with messages after she died a couple years ago.
really,
But she would help me with mediumship messages, but she would speak them in sign language because she was deaf. Now she can hear now and communicate much better, but she communicates in sign language. I'm like,
oh,
wow, amazing. I understand. But yeah, so she does show up on occasion. My dad, not so much, which is that's okay. Yeah.
we lost two friends in less than a year
Oh
within
yeah.
6 months apart from each other. And the one friend, she was following you around doing work with you, and then her other friend was just enjoying her
Oh
time. Well, she just was gone for a while, remember?
yeah. Oh yeah. I remember her communicating, like her showing me, like we were doing a message circle, and she was showing me what it was like right before she died, and then when she left her body. And the minute she left her body, she was like, woohoo. She was, I mean, we were all in shock and like in shock and grieving for her loss. But she was like, woohoo, I'm out of here. This is great. And has shown up like on occasion, but not much. She's out enjoying her life on the other side in an amazing way. She's, this is great. Sorry,
She's in the
not
distance,
really.
having it, yeah.
Yeah, just it's interesting. But oh, I just wanted to mention something about when we have guides, spirit guides come visit us, what we can do. And it's super simple. It's like a simple technique that you can go into a meditation, do a little breath work and meditate, and ask your spirit guide, ask a spirit guide, whichever one you want, or you can say, surprise me, and ask for a spirit guide to come and show up and just tune into how you feel as that's happening, because a request for a guide to show up, they will show up. And then just see how you feel. Just sit in a very calm, meditative state and just see how you feel, because something will shift around you. And you can also ask them, and this is really cool. This is part of the spiritualist tradition. You can say, give me a calling card. Now, what's a calling card? This is, again, a spiritualist term. Show me give me a sign of some sort of sign so that I know you're here. And so that could be like maybe perhaps you see a feather falling into your hand, or you feel like a buzzing on the side of your face, or you maybe even might feel a hand sitting right here on your shoulder. Ask for a calling card. Show me a calling card, show me a sign that you are here so that I can become familiar with that sign so that I know you're here, so that you're opening up your sensitivity and to those signs so that you can see and know that they're there with you. Super simple.
Yeah.
And it could be a song, it could be a sign, it could be a symbol, it can be a feeling, a touch. You might have buzzing right back here. I mean, it could be anything, but it's ask for it and then see what happens. See, feel. I just speak in terms of seeing because I see a lot. But when I say see, I mean it's like the gambit of everything. See, feel,
Yeah.
hear what shows up for you, and just and be. You can even ask them to help you become more sensitive to it, so that you know more clearly who's showing up for you. It's super simple and easy to do, and anyone can do it. And then you'll start to know. You'll start to have more faith that actually you have lots of help from the other side coming in to help you. Yeah, it's
Do
important.
you, this is a question I was going to ask you, invite in special interest guides because you're developing different skill sets and things like with my crypto readings specifically, I have been asking for crypto blockchain experts in wherever they are in the future, or I just call on them really good ones, really high level ones. So I've been trying to establish that connection so that I'm clear and get good information. So that's how I've been using special interest recently, but I'd like to call on some for like mediumship for sure.
Okay.
Develop that.
I just call in my team.
Okay.
Okay, my team.
You put your sign up. Team.
Yeah. Help me. I need you now. And I tune in. I just start, but I'm so used to doing it. It's just, okay, calling my team. And sometimes I'm really specific. I want the Ascended Masters, and I'll go through specific Ascended Masters. And then I'll ask for angel, or I'll ask, I think that Jesus, Mother Mary, I usually ask for that. Sometimes I ask for Babaji, Yogananda, some of the more well-known Ascended Masters as part of my team. And then I ask for like my spirit team, because I've had beings show up. So I ask them to come in. And what I do, because I know what they look like, I don't even really have a name for them. I just ask them to come in. And I see them in my mind energetically, so I know what they look like. As I picture them, it's, okay, I need you here too. So that's what I do. So I usually ask for a lot.
Good. You can't receive unless you ask, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I haven't done as much as I want a mediumship guide to ask me, but just saying that now, it's like, oh, I'm going to start doing that. Or an expert in giving psychic readings or Akashic record readings or any of these things. Just ask.
Right.
I mean, really, that's it. Yeah.
I remember that's a teaching with Gerald O'Donnell's work, and he talks about when you drop you down to the theta level, like start asking the lower levels of your subconscious mind for teachers to appear if you want a teacher or those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are only limited by that, by one, what we believe in, and then also to ask. It's such a simple thing to ask. Please show up for me now. I need this.
Right.
Whatever that thing is. And more. Because there might be things that I don't know that I need. So help me with that too. We forget to ask. And it can be that simple. Truly.
The last few weeks, I've been very aware that I think it's the universe prompting me to make some changes where it's like you can only receive to the bandwidth that you are programmed to believe you are worthy of receiving. You want all these things, and we'll use crypto as an example here. Like you want this generational wealth, but then maybe your bandwidth is this, and that's why you got to fix this before, so that you can get it all. It's really an internal problem versus an external problem. That makes sense.
Oh, makes total sense.
So,
Yeah. What's your bandwidth? Let's open that up. Yeah.
perfect example. Because I think subconsciously, based on certain experiences you may have had, if your bandwidth is too big, you are a little bit afraid that you're going to receive things that aren't pleasant because you're too open. There's like a trust level there, I realize, with having a really open reception. It's time to jump up a few levels.
Yeah.
For sure. Anywho.
Yeah. So ask your guides for help with all of that. See what shows up. Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. And also, people can share with us what guides have been showing up for them lately, if they want to.
Yeah. Put it in the comments. We welcome it all. We try and respond right away.
Yeah.
We're building community here.
Yes.
Building out a Patreon soon.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Yeah. All right. We're winding down here. Yeah.
You want our free content? We always provide some free content here. And you want to see it on the regular, just click that button.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah, bye. Bye, Kimmie.
Like and subscribe for additional crypto intuitive readings, global predictions, and intuitive development education. If you would like a private reading with Kimmie or Lorena, please find our individual websites listed below. Please remember this information is for entertainment purposes only and should never be considered as professional financial advice.